Well, you just mentioned that there was a phone call last night between the Speaker and the President, and by all accounts, it really did not go well. And I'm learning new information about why that may have been. I talked to a Democratic source who said that a counteroffer that House Republicans sent back to the White House late yesterday included a call for a permanent extension of Bush-era tax cuts for the top 2%. Now, you know that we've been talking constantly about the fact that the biggest divide between the two when it comes to taxes is that tax rate for the wealthiest. And so this Democratic source who I talked to, familiar with the proposal, said that this was a sign to the White House that that the Republicans are either unwilling or not capable of offering something that can pass the House and the Senate, and more importantly that the President can sign, because he had said that he does not want to raise tax rates for, he wants to raise, tax rates for the wealthiest Americans. Republicans counter, a Republican source who I spoke with countered that that just doesn't make any sense to them, that the Republicans' whole intention is to deal with the Bush-era tax rates right now because you have to deal with that, but that down the road they want to reform the tax code. So there's a little bit of toing and froing, no surprise, going back and forth even over this particular point, but sort of big picture, it really does, it seems, help explain why the President and the Speaker did not have a good conversation, and that is something that I asked the Speaker about earlier today. Listen to what he said.
I didn't say it was tense. Listen, there were some offers that were exchanged back and forth yesterday, and you know, the President and I had a pretty frank conversation about just how far apart we are.
Now, of course, from the Republicans' perspective, what they've been saying publicly, even more so for the past 24 hours or so, Ashley, is that they're frustrated. And the Speaker, I'm told, expressed his frustration behind closed doors this morning to his Republican caucus. They're frustrated because they don't think that the White House is doing enough to come to their position on cutting more spending from the government.
Well, I'm a little confused about that issue of permanence. If Speaker Boehner is talking about making permanent those tax cuts for the wealthiest 2%, how does that square with the tax reform down the road?
That really is the crux of these conversations that I've been having with these sources today. What the Democratic source said is that the reason that the White House got their back up is because the way they read the Republican counteroffer was to say that any tax reform would not include any tax rate that's higher than current law, which is a non-starter for Democrats because, of course, they've said that they want to raise taxes on the wealthiest 2%, tax rates on the wealthiest 2%. Again, I will tell you that Republicans, this Republican source I'm talking to says, well, you know, that may not be the case, that we will change the tax code when it comes to tax reform. So, you know, what exactly happened between the two? It is secretive, as you said. We don't know exactly what was on the paper, except for the fact that this is an indication of how these two sides really seem to be talking past each other, even when it comes to the President and the Speaker.